Welcome to the Daily Edge. Steve, Jake, Mark, we are the Noodlebergs, and let's find our edge. It starts with our affirmation. True success isn't measured by trophies. It's built in the quiet moments of discipline, consistency, and impact, which means
bullshit
that this trophy is full of shit.
I don't believe so.
It means that this is worth nothing because everybody in today's world gets a fucking trophy. So,
Yeah, that Little League philosophy that started happening around the time you guys were growing up, and everybody needs to play.
no,
and-
Participation trophy.
Don't blame my generation for this one.
I'm
too.
like, Jesus, come on, man. It's the whole idea that everybody gets an award devalues the award system.
So let's talk about this one for a second.
Okay.
We're celebrating the Seminole 100, which is the fastest growing
No
FSU-led
cheer for him?
businesses in the country.
I'm a gamer.
And why do we think this award means something? Because we didn't have to pay to be nominated for it.
Well, you didn't have to buy a table. You didn't have to do an ad. You didn't have to do anything to get your name there.
I think it's cool. It's cool to say they checked our revenue. Right?
Well, it's a huge. So I would say it's a huge practice in business that the awards you want to receive, you have to pay for, right? There's a cost involved, which to me immediately disqualifies the legitimacy of the business because it's a revenue driver
who's
for
who.
whoever that is, right? So number one, there was no revenue associated with them. And then the qualification process in order to be, admitted into the 100 or voted into the 100 was real. They went in, they looked at your revenue year over year. They looked at your employees. They did everything to really qualify it, which I think says, all right, that's a legit award, which is different than the participation trophy or the awards that you're buying in terms of.
Before we get going on this, though, I think, while I'm excited, when did this company become a Seminole company?
Yeah.
This has always been a Gator company.
Proud to be FSU led, even though these two guys are Gators over here. We're proud to be FSU
But it is led by you, so I did secede that.
Let's talk about this philosophy of participation trophies, right? Because have we hindered society by giving out participation trophies now? Or
Yes.
are we hindering
yes.
society?
Yes.
Okay. So I grew up, I played sports. I want to tell the story, right? Because my father was probably what I would consider one of the best little league coaches that any kid could have had, which is, I wouldn't have thought that I'd
Among
be.
the many things
I was going to say little league coaches. I can't believe we're starting there, but he used to do this thing giving out dollars.
I was hoping you were going to tell the story.
And he used to give out dollars at the end of the day, at the end of the game to somebody on the team. And I used to go in the car and go, why the F did you give him the dollar? I scored 25. And he was like, that's not what the award was for, or nor do you need the award to show that you scored 25 or that you got the win. And that was such a lesson for me early on. And I remember and it sounds conceited, but I was the best player. I used to take the shots. I used to do everything. And I would have to sit there and go, why am I not getting the reward? Right. And so that taught me that lesson one way. And then I used to get the trophy for playing football, which was participation. I didn't win the AYFL. I didn't win the League Cup. And I would then get a trophy at the end. And those are now collecting dust at the bottom of my,
No meaning.
And even in college football, I have rings for winning bowl games that I don't really consider championship rings.
Right.
Like we won a bowl game. We won the Orange Bowl. We won the SEC East. But I never won the national title. I never won the Super Bowl.
Which is the ultimate prize.
Which is the ultimate prize. And so I kind of look at my rings as almost a slap in my face, is that we didn't do our job or we didn't finish it. And so are you hindering, and I'm going to ask it again, are you hindering or are you helping by giving, the participation trophies?
Well, you're absolutely hindering.
Yeah.
It's an epidemic on human performance and culture, because at what point did doing your job become celebratory?
Right.
At what point in doing what you're supposed to do become celebratory? Now, there is a place for celebration in changing behavior. when I work with somebody who we're teaching new sales behaviors to, right? In terms of using video or in terms of building brand, their first video or their first post tends to suck early, right? It's like not the
Well,
best.
whatever we do the first time,
right?
sucks,
Whatever you do the
right?
first time
Right.
sucks. I'm not going to crush you and be like, that was no good. Go back to the drawing board. I'm going to celebrate the fact that you did it. I'm not going to hand you a trophy and be like, that was the greatest thing ever, but I'm going to celebrate the fact that you did it. And I'm going to critique you and try to get you to be a little bit better. We're not doing that for kids. We're not doing that in Little League sports. We're going, great job for being on the team. Guess what? When I was in football, right, and I was 5'8", 150 pounds, and the smallest little white Jewish kid on Cooper City's team playing kickoff return, and we're playing Stoneman Douglas that's got 5 kids that are going
Land of the
Division I,
Giants,
running
right.
down on kickoff, and I'm getting my teeth knocked in. Nobody handed me a trophy for that, right? They said, get up and do it again. Otherwise, get off the field and we'll find somebody else to do it. That taught me resilience. That taught me pride in my performance. That taught me to understand that I was the one who had to be the judge on whether or not it was good enough. And it was my responsibility to meet the expectation. We're not doing that for kids today. We're saying, hey, great job being here.
And those
we're saying,
kids-
that's okay that you swung and you missed. No, it's not. You got
It's
to
not the
figure out how to
point.
hit the ball. The game is to hit the ball. If you're not hitting the ball, it's not good enough. It's okay to tell them that.
See, the problem is that those kids grow up to be people in the business world with the same expectation, and it just doesn't work that way. I remember, having sales contests, and somebody would come up to me and go, "Boss, I'm 1 or 2 deals away from that. Can I get the bonus?"
Right.
I'd say, absolutely fucking not. And they would look at me like, what do you mean? I go, it is what it is. You either make it or you don't make it. That's on you. The bar is there. Did you get over the bar? Did you get under the bar? If you get to the goal line and don't cross the goal line,
They don't give you any points.
Right.
You don't get a touchdown for getting to the 1 yard
like,
line.
Where did people come up with that? Well, if I get close, it's okay. No. And it sounds harsh, but it's really not. I grew up, in retail. My grandfather taught me so much, and he used to treat me like shit. Like, do you remember I'm your grandson? He goes, every time I knock you down, you will get up stronger and you'll thank me for it. And you know what? Every single morning I look at him, the picture I have of him, and thank him, because I am resilient and I understand the value of doing something, not just getting a freaking award.
And the other thing is, like, this is great, right? But this is a representation of last year.
Yeah.
This does me no good now.
Right.
It creates some validation. Sure, I could say, hey, look at what we won.
Well, it is a club.
But that's not, and that's
It
great
has
to
its
be in.
benefits.
It's great
Right.
to be in, right? But this isn't going to do anything for me in 2025. This was all 2024's work. So if we
I would
want,
challenge you on that. But,
if we want another one, well, no.
because you are now part of a community that you didn't know before.
But it requires me to
New
do work to get
New
anything
work,
out of it,
right,
right? So it
exactly.
offers me
That's
opportunity.
great.
Championships offer you opportunity. Awards should offer you opportunity to raise the bar, to do it again, to pick up the shovel, pick up the axe, whatever phrase you want to use that represents work. That's what the award should do. Jalen Hurts already back on the field preparing for next year. It's been 2 weeks since the
Can we
Super Bowl.
forget about the Eagles already?
It's climbing the mountain. Like it's not one climb, which is, if you treat it like one climb, you're going to be severely disappointed in life, And I struggled from that early on, of sweat equity, of, well, I've already done that. And I talked about that voice in your head, that ego voice that goes, well, I don't need to do that anymore because I got
Ooh,
this.
dangerous.
Right? We were the
Dangerous.
fastest growing company. We should continue to do the exact same thing we did last year, this year.
Right.
And you fall into that trap. And the one thing I loved about football was, no matter if you won the title, no matter if you were in last place, you came in the office in January and you turned on the film and you said, what did we do well and what did we do bad?
Yep.
It was the standard practice. And now both teams will look at it, the worst team in the league and the best team in the league, or the worst business and the best business, and say, what are we doing? Right. And we talked about Elon Musk taking over Twitter. Twitter was pretty expensive when he bought it.
Yep.
Right. It's valued pretty high. Right. And what are you doing to continuously get back on that mountain and to climb it and to say, I need to continue to climb it and be willing to, I almost want to call it like one of those ski lifts, it's like, you got to take it back down. Right. Like, yes, you're high, but you have to take it back down and climb it again. And if you don't have that
drink
mentality,
your own Kool-Aid, you take your eye off the ball. And so, there are individual awards, there are team awards.
Well,
so there's different ways to slice this. The best example for me was Saquon Barkley, who could have.
I thought we were done talking about the Eagles.
Yeah, but I have to. He could have won, could have been the most rushing yards ever, and he sat out because the greater good was to win the big prize.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think, where are you? And it's great that awards are based on outcomes, but where, and you talked about it, Mark, but where are you celebrating the behaviors,
right?
And where are you? Because I think of kids in the school system now. It's really hard. Like, for a lot of kids, you either fit into the school system or you don't. And there's not a lot of options of those kids to go anywhere, right? And you, Dad, would be like, you're great. You don't fit. That's even better. Like, you didn't fit, right? And you were like, I need to go get the experience to excel outside of the four walls in the classroom, right? And now I worry about it. Mark, you have kids, that are young and are going to go through the school system. Or Kai is 9 now, which is insane,
9 and 3,
and and I'm sure you're dealing with them maybe not fitting into the structure completely. And how do you not completely derail their development because they're not getting the outcomes in school that necessarily they need?
There's a lot of ways to learn.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of ways to learn. And so what I'm looking for as a parent is who gives us the most well-rounded opportunity to help them learn, period. There's Montessori, there's the regular school system. As parents now, it's overwhelming. There's 9 million people on Instagram telling you what toys you need to buy and what games you need to be playing. Like, it's almost harder now to be a parent than ever before, because everybody's got an opinion and everybody's telling you how this does and what this does.
Anything in life. Everybody's got an opinion. I did it this way.
There's voices everywhere. So for me, it comes back to keeping it simple. They need to learn, right? What offers them the best opportunity to learn, not necessarily who's going to have the easiest path for them or who's going to take care of them the best, but who's going to offer them the biggest opportunity to learn. There's a reason that the school that we're going to send Jules to is a very hard school to get into, because guess what? They don't play games there. This is the standard. This is the expectation. This is what we're going to push kids to do. And if you don't like that as a parent, not going to be the school for you.
So I have a question for you. So in my years of growing businesses, I always believed in incentive. Even when I grew up with my, in my grandfather and dad's business, they had things called spiffs.
Yeah.
You sell this, you get this.
Yep.
And it became very linear, so I am all about incentive. If you do this, so there were a lot of people that worked for me who said, fuck the award, pay me, right? Show me the money, so whatever drives you, if an award drives you, God bless you, fantastic. It should be
a moment
result
in time
metric, but that's where it went wrong, is that the result is not necessarily the only qualification. So the award,
I love the idea of the award being for result. Period. End of story. There's no other way you should get the award unless you match the result. Now, I'll tell you, like, we handed out awards on our football teams for the most effort, right? But they didn't get that award till the end of the year, and it was because they were the guys who busted their ass day in and day out. And maybe it didn't show up in the stat sheet. Maybe it didn't show up.
It should be rewarded.
But it should be rewarded. It should be recognized because they did it, and there was a result that came from it. It was the embodiment of their work over a whole year that goes, that's worth an award. Which is very different than saying, thanks for coming to work today and doing the work that I hired you to do.
Thanks for coming to work.
Right.
That's what it is.
It's
It's
the
so good.
Thanks for being here
Thank
today
you
and
for
doing what I
being here.
asked you to do. Like, what are we saying?
so
That's
glad
the
that you did it,
expectation.
right?
Why are we celebrating that?
right.
It's so great. Thanks for coming.
Do we have participation awards here?
No.
I
No.
show up,
Well,
right?
why don't we have participation awards? Because we have a competitive landscape.
Yeah.
We have created competition to create those results. Without competition, and that's what participation awards did.
Well,
They took out the whole
and-
competition. It's like, just show up and you'll get a trophy. You know?
To be clear, I also think this is really important for individuals or teams that are paying attention to the outcome is sure, we're all here for the end result. We're all here to grow the business and make more money, but we're bought into how we're going to do that. We're bought into showing up every day and buying in and being here for each other to do it together. That's very different than saying, well, I just want the thing at the end.
Well, we're going to chase perfection, knowing along the way we're going to find excellence.
Thank you,
Right.
Vince Lombardi.
Yes.
One of the best quotes there is. Like, I
Ever.
didn't look at those seasons that I got the rings as failures, right? We took another step forward. I learned something else. So it wasn't necessarily that you based it all on the outcome. There should be a sense of disappointment, though, if you don't get there.
Right.
Right. And
You
So
didn't
disappoint-
get
here's
the
the
award.
truest thing.
Right.
Here's the truest thing. Even though you deserved the $1 that I gave out, which I knew you deserved, right? You wanted it, right? You wanted
it.
a dollar more than
Right?
anything.
So if I gave $1 to every kid on the team,
Loses value.
I don't give a shit. And
Right.
everybody got
Means
$1.
nothing.
It meant something
Yeah.
when one kid got it. And why did he get it? And you were inquiring, which kept you hungry.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that $1, you know? And that was the truest thing with all the kids on the team.
And so awards are great, right? You win them, you win a championship as a team, or you get recognized as MVP, or your rookie of the year in sales, or your president's club, your Seminole 100,
Right.
whatever the award is. It's great, but it's a moment. It is one moment.
Yeah.
And if you hold on to that moment as your
So
identity for the rest of your life,
And
you will
people
become
do-
the
well,
biggest loser in the history of the world.
I love
I can't stand meeting people at the high school reunion or at the team reunions that are still rocking the ACC championship ring from 2005.
We did
And
it.
that's their biggest thing they've done in the last 20 years. Like,
Crazy.
dude, what are you doing? Like, come on, let me help you find
Let's-
something else because it ain't about that thing.
Let's break down the situation, Connor McDavid. And if you haven't watched hockey yet, I
Oh.
think it's the number one thing you're missing out on. Another client just looked at me and goes, "I'm a hockey fan now," after the United States Canada thing. But Connor McDavid, if you don't know who that is probably the best player in the NHL. He makes people who have never watched hockey go, "Oh my god, I didn't know you could
You
move
can
like
do that on
I didn't know you
skates,
could move
right?
that way
Right.
on skates."
Every
Right.
time.
Back it up a little bit. They're playing the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. They lose. Pretty tough game in Game 7. He wins the Player of the Year,
Right.
and he doesn't go out to accept the award.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave the locker room. Right. Doesn't leave the locker room. The award gets presented, and then the team celebrates. What's your take on that? I mean, he's worked his entire life to be the best player.
Greater gain.
Yeah,
Right.
to him, that's not the thing that's important, right? Like, now I would say there's like, it's kind of a spit in the face to anybody that's ever won that award to not
Right.
walk out there and do the right thing and be like, hey, I appreciate the award. I just want to let everybody know, like, this doesn't mean anywhere near as much as a Stanley Cup would. And I'm really in no position to accept this at this time, but thank you. That's a way better move than not showing up.
But
It's
the
a bit immature.
expectation to have a guy that just lost
Yeah.
in Game 7 to come out there, I
Right,
think is
next-
unreasonable. He'll own that moment. I mean, I can tell you, like, NEC used to be a manufacturer that made TVs. They got in the phone business. When they got in the phone business, I made sure we were going to be one of the top dealers. We were. I personally sold more NEC phones than anybody in the country. And I got this unbelievable TV. That moment of receiving the TV,
Yeah.
I still love
Right.
that. you
Yeah,
know?
right.
Like, but NEC went out of business. Man. And it was like, all right, I would tell that story now. Like, people,
Right.
what the
Right,
fuck is
right,
NEC?
right.
Right. It was like, so
It's a moment
you
that you-
can't hold on to it forever. It is totally what have you done for me lately? Which when you see people do it, and Nick Saban did this, is it repeatable?
Right.
You know, it's such a great thing about.
Are you willing to do it
Yeah.
again? Will you not, like you said it, will you not buy into like, oh, I'm great now and I deserve? There's some kind of deserving or there's some kind of something's owed to me now because of the previous result. Bullshit. The only thing that's owed to you is what you're willing to do and earn today. If you're not willing to do or earn anything today, nothing
Until
is
you're
owed
not.
to you.
Until you're not. If
Right.
you decide I've done it, that's how people retire. I've given it everything. I'm not willing to do what it takes anymore. And
Bye.
you know,
I do think you'd have to relish in the wins though a little bit.
yeah.
You gotta find.
gotta
a
enjoy the
place.
moment.
You got to
Gotta
find
enjoy
a
the moment.
place
Had a blast this weekend.
to make the work
Oh.
worth it, you
Right.
know, and not to celebrate the award, but to celebrate the work.
Yep.
And the steps that you went to get there, and really look back on the nights, the conversations. Like I'm sure you did that. Like there was a reflective period that existed on how did we get here? You know, what did we do? What decisions, what hard decisions did we have to make? Which good decisions did we have to make? What went wrong? What went right? And if you're not willing to do that, then the award is pointless.
It's
to
funny.
me.
You've talked about that reflective period, right? One of the worst things about that reflective period is feeling like a phony. Is feeling like
that
you won that
imposter,
award,
right.
and then you look back and you're like, damn, look at all the stuff we did wrong.
Yeah.
Like look at all the ways we could have been better. Like we won this or we did this and we got this, and like there's a ton of opportunity for us to be better.
Which is an exhaustive
Wow, that's
thought, which
crazy,
is
right?
exhaustive for
Well, you
like,
can talk yourself
out of
you
it,
know,
right.
out of it. But I think for me, the coolest takeaway of all, and I think people that have watched us will get this, is that I didn't win the award, you know, but I take as much grace and gratitude for you winning it, because you did it. You
Well,
stepped in.
I think
You know, it wasn't
and we
bullshit.
won it.
It wasn't, but
And we
it
won
wasn't
it.
bullshit. It wasn't nepotism.
Right.
I had a lot of friends who said, "Oh yeah, now your sons are and you're really no. This was a clear
Well-
example." And so for me, I didn't get an award,
Right.
but I got an award.
Well, that- you know
I got
what?
an award that's better than any of
Well,
this shit, man.
Well, that's the cool part, is that when you tell people you won an award now, it's no longer, oh my God, congratulations. Like,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, right.
That's-
Yeah.
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
so
Cool, you got a
true.
participation
And
trophy.
then,
Good for you.
Right.
and
How much
I
you
did
pay
too.
for it?
I
Well,
did
How much
too.
did you
it's
pay
so
for it?
funny. Well, it's so funny. I find myself talking up our own award. You
Right,
know,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
no, no, like
qualify
this
it,
is the
right?
real deal.
No, it's a
no,
real
We
award.
had to qualify.
Yeah,
We had to-
right.
they actually checked our financials. Like you find yourself like trying to make it mean something to you. And I think that's the problem, is you're trying to battle the external, internal thing constantly.
Yep.
You know,
We won
it's
it,
super proud of
and now
us.
it's time to get on the ball.
No doubt. So thank you.
Wait, hold on. What did we
Yeah.
win? What do we actually do?
What do you mean? What do we actually do? Oh, like as a business?
Yeah, like what did we win it for?
Well, we want it for growing,
Right.
Right. So year over year revenue compared to the other businesses that
And
were
if
in the
somebody's
category.
listening to us, what do we do?
Sales, right? Leadership, performance. If it falls into any of those three buckets, we should have a conversation. Thank you for finding the edge with us. Remember to watch, listen, subscribe, share the episode with a friend who needs it. We will see you next time.